Directions for your tall ice cream cone. Human teacher code on the back. Probably about 2 fingers from the top of your paper, you'll start tracing your ice cream scoop shape. Make sure that it is fitting on your paper. Hold it securely with the hand that is holding the stencil in place, and then put your pencil right next to the edge of that stencil and carefully trace around. When you get to your hand, keep pushing down, but lift up your arm while you're still pushing down and reach underneath your arm to continue tracing. Then when you add the next scoop, you're going to only trace part of it. And depending on how much of it you decide to trace is how many scoops of ice cream you will be able to fit on your paper. So I'm going to start just below the scoop that's already drawn on my paper because we are using overlapping. Same thing here as the first one. I'm reaching underneath my hand and my arm without lifting up my hand that's holding the stencil in place. And I'm going to keep going because I still have some room. As I said, it depends on how far apart these are, how many scoops of ice cream that you will be able to fit on your piece of paper. Continue this process by very carefully only tracing part of the next scoops and reaching under your hand and continuing to hold your stencil in place while you trace. With the kind of spacing that I decided to do with my scoop shape, I was able to fit 4 on my paper and leave lots of room at the bottom. Pretty much your whole hand should fit at the bottom so that you can draw your cone. The cone is a giant V shape. Make sure it's very, very large. You should be able to fit your hand in that space. Next, you'll add the lines that create the texture of your cone. So you're going to create a diagonal line that goes with the one side of your cone V shape. So you're making diagonal lines that go all the way across. They touch your ice cream scoop and they go all the way to the bottom of the cone, and they're about a finger's amount of space apart. And you'll repeat the same thing on the other side, creating a diagonal line that follows the line of the V on the outside of your cone. To create your cherry on top, you're going to draw a circle that at least 2 fingers can fit inside of. And then inside of your circle, you'll have to erase that line where there's a little bit of overlapping happening. And then at the top, you'll put a kind of little smiley face and a curved line for the stem. And when you love all your lines, use a black Sharpie marker to retrace all those lines very carefully. Then you're going to add very nice dark crayon coloring. Go really slow when you're coloring next to one of your black lines so you don't accidentally color outside the lines. Do your best to color very dark and stay inside the lines. When you go to add paint to your project, make sure you're using the very tippy top of your brush. So you're doing your best to stay inside of your drawing lines as best you can. And it's okay if you paint on areas that you colored on because the crayon will resist the watercolor. Just remember when you switch colors to rinse your brush very thoroughly and blot it every single time you switch colors. So if you want to do a multicolored scoop of ice cream like I am, be sure to rinse your brush and blot it every time that you switch colors. Go ahead and paint in any remaining white space on your paper. And when you're done, place your artwork very carefully on the drying rack.